So here I got the 5-day chart, 5-minute candles for MARK, Remark Holdings. So we see a slight downtrend and a huge pop here on Friday, pretty much from 108 all the way up to 168, back down to what VWAP closed at on Friday around 145. So pretty strong move. Let's pull up the 1 day to get a closer feel. So off the top, I see that it's heavy right here, 160. It barely got over. It did hit 168 briefly, but the 160 right here is the top of this and the bottom of this candle. So, and then here 150, and then here at 140 are the key levels, and the 200 SMAs at 123, near 125. But let's go over what happened here. It's an interesting play. So they dropped this. Let me get the volume up.
边缘计算 AI 企，英特尔联手生态伙伴，推出了面向餐饮行业的边缘计算 AI 解决方案，搭载了高性能、低功耗的英特尔处理器以及 OpenVINO 工具套件等软件，可实时收集、分析和处理后厨监控图像等数据，快速发现异常事件，向管理人员及时告警，确保后厨合规化运营。开发。
So they dropped that video in a Chinese or whatever language that is, and then they tag Intel selling our technologies together, right? Yeah, so it is Beijing People's Republic of China, and here it is at 11:53. So we can go back on the 1 minute and we can make for sure, 11:53 is right here. So as soon as it came out, here we go. It hops from 108 to 168, making a 60 cent move, almost over 50% move off that. But the problem is there's no SEC filing, and there's no real concrete evidence of anything more than they're implying that Intel's working with them here on their smart kitchen computer vision stuff, right? Intel hasn't released anything, and as we all know, penny stock companies will often pretend to have collaborations with bigger companies. We just saw this with Funware, how they pulled that off at the Honey Bale. So this is one of those ones you can ride the hype, but you can't believe in it, right? Because let's go deeper in the fundamentals, because this one's an interesting one before we go over the price action and the price targets and the support and resistance. So as of August 11th, 2020, there's 99.4 million shares, almost 100 million shares, right? Cash, they got 10.2 million shares. Dollars. So think about that. They got 99.4 million shares and $10 million in cash. The problem with this is that's only about 10 cents a share in cash. The revenue was about 2.3 million for the 3 months ended June 3rd, which is a decrease from the last year, and their net loss is 9.8 million. So they got 10.2 million dollars in cash, and they're losing 9.8 million dollars every 3 months. Horrible, right? And right now they got a market cap, if you add 140 million. Does that make sense? Not to me. But let's check this out. It gets even worse. I look into over here. Check this out. During the 6 months ended June 30th, 2020, in each fiscal year since our inception, we have incurred net losses which have resulted in an accumulated deficiency of $359.1 million as of June 3rd, 2020. So they've lost $360 million, right? And here they are pulling 2.3 million every quarter and losing as much as they have in cash with 100 million shares, right? And then I go in a little deeper in here, and you see as of August 31st, 99.5 million shares of our common stocks were issued and outstanding. In addition, as of August 31st, 2020, we had an outstanding stock option exercisable into 15.8 million shares of common stock, and we had an outstanding warrants to purchase 6.6 million shares of common stock. Therefore, no shares of the common stock out of the 100 million shares authorized under our existing certificate of incorporation remained unallocated as of August 31st, 2020. And if all of our outstanding stock options and warrants were exercised, the total number of shares of common stock that would be required to issue would greatly exceed the number of remaining authorized but unissued shares of common stock under our existing certificate of incorporation. So if the authorized share amendment proposal is not approved, our ability to raise required fundings will be severely hampered. So what they're saying is, look, they've offered more warrants than they can even issue. So they have to increase their authorized shares so they can do even more dilution than what they're authorized. So bad planning. They've lost $360 million. They're going to jack this up. So supposedly it was on October 21st this meeting was coming, and here it is getting it pushed back to November 4th. So on November 4th, more than likely the news is going to come out that they've increased the authorized share count, and that's going to lead to a price cut. And here we go. Here's another thing that's always caught my eyes. Their company is often replying to accusations, and they're often getting accused of stuff. So here we are in 2018. The company is denying things from J Capital Research, as well as they've been attacked recently in August by Wolfpack Research, which you can go on YouTube. I think they have like a 20-minute real detailed video of what they're accusing them of. So they have a bad sentiment, and I could see why with their history. And then I watched this. Check this out. This is 2017. This is interesting.
2015, it was a business that we thought we could add a lot of value, so we brought back the growth and hopefully the fun part into the business again.
There's never been signs of growth in this company.
That's a business which we clearly target the U.S. Really one country on one street. We also have a business called Bikini.com, which is a media lifestyle platform focused on the female demographic.
What? Bikini.com? Look at this. So this company is a technology company doing infrared cameras and temperature scanning and getting collabs with Intel, and they got a company called Bikini.com. I don't know. I just don't know. So that big warning is about the November 4th. The authorized share count's going to be increased most likely, and that will be a price cut. So don't hold this like an investment. This is a price action. Play the hype, but don't believe it type of play. Horrible fundamentals, bad history. But at the same time, because of that, maybe shorts will pile in here too heavily, and because of supply and demand, all the bulls that will buy it anyways won't do their research, and then it will squeeze anyways. So let's look at the price action. So first of all, we see the 160 was heavy, the 150, the psychological 150, and then 140 acted as support. And I say that because the bottom of this wick held here, came back down. The bottom of this wick hit 139, and the bottom of this wick hit 141. So 140, and we'll see why, because I got the resistance and support levels actually on the 1 year daily candle. It's where it made the most sense. So 150 is that one. 150 is the obvious potential support if it gets over, or resistance until. That's the key level, the psychological barrier, and we see a little price action already on it now that's formed. So, but above it, it's gonna be 160. It's gonna be heavy from right here. Then it's gonna go 175, then 185, Then it will be heavy at 2, then 215, then 230, and then 250. That's all. That's my price targets from there. If it can get some momentum and continue next week. Underneath it, 140 needs to hold the support right here. The top of this part is support here. Came down and then acted as a little bit of resistance at the end of the day. Or not the end of the day, this year. So 140, that's how we saw the price action. It was resistance, and as soon as we got over it, it forms a little support. As soon as that breaks, all the way to 125. I wouldn't touch it to 125. Under 125, 115 would be the next support level where I'll be looking for a bounce. It's also near the 200 SMA on this chart. Underneath that's the dollar, and if the dollar breaks, I don't see any support till 85 cents, which is right here. So let's go over why. See the 160, how it acted as support. It never acted as support. I mean, once it broke underneath here, it was resistance here, almost on this wick, and as well in this candle here. Then it nearly acted as support for a couple days, and so here we are today. When we get to that 160, we get over that support at 140, so it acts as we get over the resistance at 140, so it acts as support. But once we test that 160 resistance and it doesn't let us break through it and continues being resistance, that will get heavier and heavier every time we hit it and don't break it. So 150 is going to be crucial for the momentum to continue, but then 160 to really continue. But ideally, I wouldn't touch this until 125. I think because of, like I said, the fundamentals. I mean, you could play the price action if you want, but I called the short on this at 163. I didn't hold it overnight, but I think a lot of people are going to get disappointed on this unless they drop one of those official SEC filings or press releases about this Intel partnership, and then if that's the case, this might go nuts. But until then, I'd be careful, and I'd only trade it intraday, and I definitely wouldn't hold it as an investment until November 2nd. With the profitable pig picks, you'll be getting access to the Discord and real-time SMS alerts that detail the particular ticker, a clear buying range, defined risk, and 2 price targets with a good risk to reward ratio, and a brief explanation of what type of play it is. On the Discord, I'll be going over real-time, play-by-play, the situation as it changes. As we all know, trading is dynamic.